Greetings. I hope you're able to hear me fine and are able to see me because I can't tell other than I'm assuming that you can. So I want to greet you and encourage you and welcome you to this week's broadcast. And by the way, I want you to understand something, and I still haven't gotten it down packed 100% yet because I typically don't think about it until I get ready to do the broadcast. But there's a reason why I stumble at the beginning of every single broadcast. I just want to share it with you. It's because I try not to use the word welcome. And let me explain to you why I'm trying not to use the word welcome. And there's another synonym, which is why you generally say greetings. But then it's like, okay, then what? But there's a reason why I don't say welcome. And this was something that I just learned, or it just came into my reality maybe like a couple weeks ago, particularly. From saying the word welcome. And it's because keep in mind that I share with you that when we're dealing with the universe and we're dealing with God and we're dealing with everything, like understand that we're not the only ones here. There's a frequency that we tap into, which is what we're doing when we're getting into our higher self, right? It's literally a frequency that we're tapping into. And with that comes responsibility. Too much is given, much is expected, but there's also a lot of responsibility. And just like in this reality, ignorance of the law is not an excuse, meaning you can go to court and say, well, I didn't know that. And the judge is going to be like, well, that is not an excuse. You should have known, or the information is available. I want you to understand that that also applies spiritually in all the realms. And so that's why I don't like to use the word welcome, because when you're saying welcome, in essence, is applying to anything that's out there. And now for me, I don't typically have to worry about that, because when you're on a different level, or when you're going through different levels of vibrations, you don't necessarily tap into, like, let's say, the lower frequencies. But I like to, when I'm broadcasting or when I'm talking, I like to share it from all aspects of it. So in other words, be careful with what you're saying. And I'm saying that to you all the time, like, be careful with what you say. That also applies to when you're saying welcome, because when you're saying welcome, that implies you're welcoming any and everything, right? So at least be a little bit more specific. And it was brought to my attention. I can't remember where, but it was some broadcast or some person I was listening to. And I remember, it was actually on YouTube. I can't remember specifically who it was, but matter of fact, it was a couple people. And they were saying, like, when you have that welcome sign outside of your door, you're basically saying anything is welcome into your house. Okay, not just the good, but anything. And so that when I read that, I was like, I never thought of it that way, but it makes sense that, when you apply it to every single thing, it makes sense, which is why in the beginning, I hesitate to say the word welcome. So I haven't actually thought about a different way to greet you guys on there, but this was just a little side note to so that you understand what's going on. I generally try not to use that word because I'm not welcoming everybody. I am welcoming the challengers to this group, and only the challengers to this group, and also those that are listening to me live, and then also those that are listening to the recording. I'm welcoming you only. Okay, so that's why you hear me kind of trying to get myself together. It's generally because it comes to me at the time of the broadcast. But anyway, so hopefully you guys are having a good time and a fun time, because this is the thing about everything in life. Like, if you leave away with nothing else, leave away with rule 6. Don't take yourself so seriously. Just have fun in life. And if you can just incorporate that into your attitude, I guarantee you a lot of the stuff that you're going through will just kind of filter away. And this is a good way for me to segue into what I wanted to chat about with you tonight. Now, I do see that several people. Hi, Karen. Good to see you. Hi, Hannah. Haley, Hannah. Good to see you as well. And thank you guys for your questions. And I definitely will address your questions. But as I'm going through the segue, I think a lot of this is an underlying, what I'm about to talk about is underlying for everything that we're going through in life. And that is the word control. And keep in mind that I share with you that words are not just words, they're actually concepts. Okay, so in other words, it goes deeper. And the challenge that I think we're struggling with is that we think that we have control of things. We don't have control of a lot of things. We have choices we can help create. But as far as trying to actually control it, that's when we run into problems and challenges and situations, if you will, is when you try to control it. But if you surrender the control aspects of everything and then just, underlying going with everything except for trying to control it, I guarantee you'll have a lighter time. And that's, I think, what's happening as I'm reading through some of your responses or things that you're going through, and not just in the challenge, but particularly those that are also messaging me personally, is because I feel there's this element of control that you're holding on to. And I can share this with you because I guarantee you this was one of my biggest lessons that I had to learn, and I'm still learning. Because as I'm sharing with you that these words are concepts, what I mean by that is that it's not something that you're going to get it and then, okay, I got it, is good. It's not that type of concept. It's a type of, when I'm saying these words are concepts, these words are definitely it's like the journey. As you're going through life, you will then be able to see different aspects of that word in your life and how it applies to you at that specific time. And that's what I'm talking about when I say words are concepts. So we understand what control it is, right? You're trying to maintain some type of force or some type of, how do you say it without using the word? You try to maintain some level of, control is really the best way I can describe it at this point. But you understand what I'm saying with control. You're trying to maintain some level of, and it really depends on what it is. So like, for instance, if you find yourself getting angry, why are you getting angry? What is it that you're trying to control? Like, what is that emotion stemming from? And it has something to do with control. And again, a lot of these words, they kind of permeate throughout our lives and throughout our journeys. And that's why I'm sharing them with you. Manipulation. Thank you, Karen. That's the right word. So you're trying to, yes, thank you. That's the word that comes to mind, is you're trying to manipulate something. And when you try to manipulate something and it doesn't work to your manipulation or to that which you desire to manipulate, that's when all the emotions come up for you, like the anger, the frustration. And mind you, this was something that was learned as a child. And let me just give you an example. One of the words that are concepts for me is the word patience. And that's literally been permeating throughout my whole life, including up until, when was it the last time I heard about it, besides today, when I was driving. But what was today? Today's Tuesday. So Sunday was the last time. And I think I had mentioned to you in my last broadcast of how when I was standing in the airport, going to Atlanta, and how I was like patiently waiting in line. Well, that was another aspect of patience coming up. Well, this weekend I attended a conference in Palm Desert, and something else happened where just patience. And so it's not something I can say I'm a patient person. I can say that. But then there will be times still in my life where I can learn patience. And that's what I'm saying, it's a concept. It's not just something, like these words go deep. And so when you're trying to, right now it's maybe just a surface level of manipulation control, but I'm sharing with you, let it go. Let go of any expectations that you may have about anything and just open yourself up. Now, when I say open yourself up, I know for the majority of you, you're probably thinking, well, how far do I open up? And that's not something that I'm going to determine for you. What I'm sharing with you is just that if your blinders are here, open them up to here and just be willing to be open. And I guarantee you there can be a time where you're way too open. I've experienced that as well. That's another broadcast. There can be a time when you're way open, but then you quickly will be brought back. And understand that even in the time that I'm referring to that I was way, too open, I was still protected. So I was never under any danger. It was no, anything like that. I just saw where the boundaries were for me at that time. And then as I grow and as I learn, as I study, as I do my spiritual practice, I'm able to open more and more, which is why I was, in the beginning, because welcome is one of the ones where I'm at a point where I need to be careful with what I'm saying welcome to. And then when it gets to the point not, then not. So just understand that when it comes to control, just get rid of the expectations. And I guarantee if you do that, that will help you tremendously on whatever you're experiencing right now in your life that you consider challenging or stressful or you're anxious about, it's because there's some type of expectation that you're expecting, some type of manipulation, and it's not going according to your expectation. And that's why I say rule 6. Literally rule 6. And rule 6 is don't take yourself so damn seriously. And if you just have that lightheartedness about yourself, about everything, and I understand, because this rule 6 was definitely something I started implementing in my life a while ago, and I started talking with my clients about it. And I understand that when I'm sharing it with you, it's conceptually wise, it seems easy to do. And then your left brain, left brain comes into play, and you start thinking about it. And that's what I'm sharing with you. Once you start thinking about how to do it, that's when you've lost the rule 6. That's when you're not putting an expectation, because it's not something that you think about. It's just something that you allow. So recall in the last broadcast I mentioned about don't worry about the how, and then don't worry about the why. Now there's a different aspect of the word why. I'm not saying asking why is not a good thing. I'm saying it's the way that you're asking. In other words, don't ask why in like a lamenting, like why is me? Like why is this happening to me? You can ask it in like in a wonderment. So like in other words, that's why I say instead of saying why, say I wonder, like approach it to a wonderment. Like I wonder if this is occurring because of this, or I wonder why this is happening to me. Like what's going on? Like is that different than like why is this happening to me? Like what's going on here? Do you see the difference? And that's why I'm sharing with you when it comes to control, and with this rule 6 and this just don't take yourself seriously, is that if you approach it as in wonderment, and if you have to, fake it until you make it. It is okay. It's okay to pretend, because if you've been listening to what I'm sharing with you, your subconscious mind doesn't know pretend or reality, right? It just knows what has been told. And so that's why a lot of times we have been lying to ourselves, because we tell ourselves the same stories over and over again, and then we tend to believe it. Well, that's your subconscious mind. Remember, it doesn't know the word no, it just knows the word yes. So if you're reliving the same thing over and over again, you're reliving it in your mind and your subconscious, and you're also going to relive it in your reality. Okay, but if you take a rule 6, and if you say, well, that seems, it seems easy, well, it is easy. Like approach it like that. Instead of saying it seems easy, say it is easy, and then just do it. It's sort of like what Yoda says, try, or don't try, do. Okay, so just do it and then see how it works for you. All right, isn't that interesting? Yes, isn't that interesting? You're exactly right, Karen. Like, isn't that interesting? Or I wonder why. And do that. Like I actually had to do that this morning for me. This morning I woke up and there was different things that was going on, and for some reason, like when I was trying to not for this, but I was trying to send something to my sister. I was trying to send her a link, and my bit links, which I have, I couldn't call it up on my phone. Then I went on the computer, and it wasn't happening then. And I said, well, isn't this, matter of fact, I said exactly that. I thought exactly like, isn't this interesting? Like, wonder what's going, I did say, I wonder what's going on. Like, what's going on? Like, why, what's these challenges? But I took it as a funness, and I wasn't getting stressed about it. I was like, okay, if this isn't working, I'll try this. If this doesn't work, that means it's not meant to be, and I won't do it now, I'll come back later. Like that literally was my attitude, and then it worked. Now, for those of you that don't know, and I'm just sharing with you because there's a lot. I study numerology, right? And so I know my power days, and I understand like the numbers in it. And so what happened was eventually I looked at my calendar, because matter of fact, I have it right here, so you can actually see it. You can see this right here. Okay. What you're seeing, like these little numbers here, that circle, these are my power days. And so today the power day is a 9. And basically 9 is one of those days for me where it's, I literally just have to like take it easy, and I don't do anything important, as far as, any type of decision or anything like that. Today it's just have fun, because whatever things can happen. So in other words, I just take it light. But it was interesting that I knew that, instinctively by asking the question. And then when I actually looked at my calendar, I said, oh, okay, it's a 9. Okay, I get it. And then that really, again, that really took the not having any expectations or anything. And I'll keep in mind that when I say not having any expectations, these may not be something that you consciously think of, but it is subconsciously there. Like, like for instance, I'm not saying there are some expectations that that are good to have. Like I expect to wake up and be well rested in a good mood and in 5D. Well, I set the intention before I go to bed, which, by the way, let me go ahead and get to these questions before I move on. All right, so Karen asks, what's my favorite thing to attract more money into my life? Very good question, Karen. And there's several things that I do. One of the things that I do that I just started doing in April. So April, May, and was it April? It was actually before April. It was March. So it's March, April, May, and then June. Is I use the new moon. So I do new moon manifestation. So I do, and this was something I do also with Sarah, and we do it collectively in a group. And when you do something collectively, it really shines the light on the intentions, because I was actually doing new moon manifestation before March. It was actually in March when I started doing with Sarah and a bunch of other people. And we have a monthly group. And if you're interested, let me know, and I'll put the link in there. But when that happened, when I started doing it with the group with other people, then that's when I really started seeing it. But manifestation using the new moon is one of the things I do to attract more money. Now, even in addition to that, Karen, what's going to also help you is this, and this is what I was sharing with when I talked about the law of attraction. Now, what I've been realizing, and what I've been like, I listen a lot, and I'm very observant on everything, including like what's going on spiritually and also what's going on in reality. And I have the unique experience to see things from the spiritual standpoint. So, and this was a gift. So, like, for instance, what's happening in your physical life, like, let's say, like, for instance, someone get into a car accident, they think it's just a car accident. But I can actually see spiritually why that car accident happened. That's just an example, okay? So I'm sharing this with you because when I was talking about the law of attraction, I can't recall what week it was. I think it was maybe week 2. It wasn't week 3. I think it was week 2. When I talked about the law of attraction, that in essence, I'm seeing into works of how that can help attract more money into your life. Because understand that money is just energy. Like, I know you've probably heard it. That's like, that's something you hear a lot. But the reason why I'm saying this, because I need you to understand that it's literally just energy. As far as the actual money is concerned, we have been programmed to think that this right here means a lot. This is just a sheet of paper. Like, this is just paper. That's all this is. This is not money. This is just a means. Now, I hear what's coming on. Yeah, but we need this to pay this, whatever. You don't. And let me help you understand this. Now, I have this in my wallet because I just finished doing a conference and I had to pay $5 a day for parking. So I still have a couple fives left over. But understand this. Very, very wealthy people very rarely handle cash. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about. When I put out this money, that was cash. Wealthy people don't handle cash. They don't. They either, they have charge cards, or they, do things electronic, but it's not about cash. They don't carry around thousands of dollars of cash in their pocket. Not very wealthy people, though. It's very rare that they handle cash. So understand that. And when you hear that, and hopefully I'm not the first one that you've heard say that, but if I am, then great. But you'll then start hearing it more. But understand there's a reason for that, because they understand that paper is not cash. So to answer your question, how do you attract more? Think about what it is that you want to do with it. Okay, so what is that you want to do with a specific sum of cash? That's what you focus on. Like, for example, one of the things that I put on my May manifestation is I wanted to pay off my car loan. Okay, so up until last year, I think I shared with you guys that I was able to manifest my dream car last year. That was the first time in, over 17, like literally, man, my son is he's 18, so over 20 years. First time ever that I had a car loan. Like, other than that, like the last car I bought, I paid cash. Before then, I paid it off. So this was like over 20 years of not having a loan. But this one, I ended up getting a loan. So I put in there, instead of saying I want to manifest a certain amount of money, I'm manifesting paying off that particular loan. And that's what I'm focusing on. And I'm actually acting as if it's already paid off. I don't even think about it. Like, matter of fact, now the payments I put on automatically come out of my paycheck. And I know that I will attract the means for me to be able to pay that off. So does that make sense? I know exactly what I want to do with it. Then perfect. And then that's okay. You've been doing that, and that's the thing. Keep doing it. The challenge is this: because there is so much involved in everything, we don't know where we are as far as the manifestation, which is why you got to keep the energy, the frequency light as when it comes to that for what you want, that for what you desire. Act as if you already have it, so depending on what it is, like for me, I'm just going to use my example, just, because of help. Again, I'm acting as if my car loan is already paid off. How do I act like that? I put the payment so that they automatically get taken out of my paycheck. So that way I don't have to, I never wrote the check for it. I just would go online and pay it. But by me every single month going online and pay it, that's putting in my reality that is not paid. But if I have it automatically taken out, I'm not even thinking about it anymore. I don't think about the car loan anymore. I'm acting as if it's already paid off. And I guarantee you, I will be coming back to you at some point to let you know, oh, so-and-so happened, and guess what? I was able to pay off my car loan. So does that make sense? Okay, yes. So in other words, don't give up, because put it this way, if any inkling of a doubt comes in, that means doubt is still there. Doubt is still there. How small, it does not matter. It is still there. In order to manifest, there can be no doubt. You have to have that 100% certainty. Recall that I said the difference between truth and knowing. Okay, with the truth, there is still an aspect of doubt there. Okay, like seriously, like, oh yeah, I believe it to be true, but there's still the aspect of that doubt when it comes to truth. But when we say knowing, when you know it's going to happen, there's 100% certainty that it will happen. There's no doubt there. So I know for 100% certainty that that loan will be paid off. Now, recall, I don't worry about how, because when I start thinking about the how, that's doubt. When I'm thinking about the, anything other than that is going to be done, that's doubt coming in. So I don't think about anything else. I literally put it out there in the universe. In my new moon, I'm doing the releasing. I'm sorry, with the new moon, I'm doing a releasing with the full moon, and I just surrender it to the universe. It's already out there. I'm just anticipating it coming. I'm excitedly waiting for it to come, but it's not something I think about on a daily basis. But if it comes to mind, like right now, it's in my reality, I'm like excited about it. I'm so excited to be able to come back and tell you guys, you will never believe what just happened. Like literally, you won't believe this. That's what I'm waiting for. So don't give up on that. So even if you've been doing it, keep doing it. Because when we're doing these manifestations, some of them, depending on the I want to say severity is not the right word, but really depend on how emotionally invested you are into it. That's when it can take a little longer. And that's why when I'm doing the manifestations, I start off with little things, like, in other words, with the little things that helps build up your confidence. So for example, what would be an example of a little thing would be if I'm going into a parking lot, I say, okay, I'm going to get a parking lot. I intend to get a parking lot right in the front, or I intend to get a parking lot that's really easy to get into, whatever. Those are little things that I started off with. And once you start getting that, you start manifesting those parking spots. You're like, oh my God, like this really works. And so then you get excited and you start doing other things. It's those little things. Now, let me share with you during the time frame when I was doing that. And again, this is continuous. This is not something I say do one time. Now, when I say it's continuous, understand that there's a time and there's a place. So there are times where I do tools and then I stop doing it, and then I'll do it again, and then I'll do others, and then I'll come back to it. So it's not, that's why I say you kind of keep an arsenal of like a tool chest, like, what's in it today? And then sometimes I forget about a tool and something will happen and I'll get reminded, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Let me do that again. And so that's why I'm sharing with you, like, don't just take things and like, okay, I've used it, didn't work, so that's it. It may not work for you right then. That doesn't mean it's not going to work for you later. So keep it within the arsenal. Don't just dismiss it. When I say keep it in your arsenal, I'm really saying like don't dismiss it with a negative thought towards it or a negative intention towards it. Just say, you know what? It didn't work this time, but that doesn't mean it's not going to work later. So let's find something else. So one of the things that I did And this was last year. I mean, I'm trying to think of the years because keep in mind that like now with time, like I just put it this way. Remember I shared with you there's no time in the 5D. So me trying to think of back time when we're in 2019. So this was either 17 and 18, 17 or 18 the year. What I would do was I would write out. As a matter of fact, no, I don't have anything with me. I'm in the office, but I would write out what I wanted. I would just write it out. And one of the things I would write out was that people would give me gifts every single day. Every single day I used to write that out, write it out. And lo and behold, every single day people were giving me gifts. And I'm not lying. And this was what was interesting for me was that for those of you that don't know me, my schedule is flexible. Like right now, I'm in actually my client's office. Like this is his office. By the way, I'm done with the work. I'm just, I'm staying here before I leave. But this is his office. But prior to me coming here, I used to go to his house 3 days a week. And then the other 2 days, I pretty much work from home. So I scheduled the client to go out because I teach from home. There's sometimes I have classes where I teach out, I go out, but for the most part, most of my work is done in-house. And so for me to say people give me gifts every single day, that was okay, that's going to be kind of like a miracle if, particularly if I don't go out or if I'm going to the same places every single time. And it would work. Now, I don't recall, let's say, for instance, if I was at home, I don't recall if I got any gifts or anything like that. But I'm just sharing with you, like, even though I was going to the same place like 3 days a week, like my client would come in and say, oh, would you like this? Or here's your, let me buy you lunch. It would just be something, and keep in mind, the gifts didn't have to be material things. It could be a gift of a compliment, like anything. But what I'm sharing with you, these were actually physical gifts that I was actually giving, like literally physical gifts. And then I was like, man, and then I had fun with that for a while, and then I stopped writing that. And yes, the gifts stopped coming, but I'm pretty sure if I started up. But I'm just sharing with you, these are tools that you can use for yourself. All right, so what's up? All right, so then let's see, Haley Hannah, you had a couple questions here, and hopefully I answered your question, Kara. If not, then let me know. But there's different tools that I use, but really focus on what it is that you want to do with the money as opposed to trying to get the cash. Okay, what do you want to do with it? And then manifest that. By the way, this is June, in May, I put on my manifesting board. I think it's a thing that we do, but one of the things I wanted to manifest was a pilgrimage. And that's why I just came back from this weekend. Like I literally manifested it. Now let me share it with you. I manifested, Karen, without money. Now, keep in mind, when I did this manifestation, I literally said pilgrimage because, what's going on with this top? Okay, I said pilgrimage because there's times when I'm specific and there are times when I'm general. My intent was whatever I needed at the time. So with that being said, I didn't want to put parameters on something I don't know I need because I was dealing with Kaya, my higher self. I said, so I know you know what I need. So I just want to manifest a pilgrimage, a place to go. And I didn't say anything about money or anything like that. I just said a pilgrimage. I won the ticket to the conference that I was attending. I won the tickets. I manifested the tickets. I won them. So that's why I'm sharing with you. I didn't ask for money to go to this particular conference. And matter of fact, this particular conference wasn't even the pilgrimage per se. In other words, this particular conference that I just went to in Palm Desert, I remember seeing it at the Conscious Life Expo in February of this year. And I said, if I'm supposed to be there, I'll be there. I remember saying that when I saw the little flyer on the table because I'd never heard of this conference. I said, but if I'm supposed to be there, I'm going to be there. And then I let that go. And then on my board, when I did the new moon manifestation for the month of May, I had to think about May, I put on their pilgrimage. And then I was able to manifest the tickets to this particular conference, which I got a lot of information, a lot of downloads, like a lot of helpful information. I manifested without having the money. Okay, so that was two of the things you heard me say that I put in May. One was the car loan and one was a pilgrimage. Okay, so focus on other than the money, what it is that you want to do with it. All right, so Haley Hannah says, when you find you're getting off track with plans and schedules, as in daily routine plans like waking up at a blank time or get this amount done and then have a blank, so not any major plans, and then things start to pile up on your to-do list, what do you do to get back on track? All right, so very, very good question. Very, very good question, Haley Hannah. Obviously, all your questions are very good questions, but very good questions to address, because this applies to everything that I'm sharing with you. Number one, stop piling that stuff on your to-do list. That's number one. Stop piling it, because you're telling yourself you have to do this. But really, there is nothing that you have to do, guys. That's what I'm trying to share with you. We are human beings, not human doings. Okay? And I'm saying this for a reason, because I can hear the arguments. Yeah, I got to do this. I got to pay, blah, blah, blah. That's what I'm sharing with you. If you get out of that habit or that belief system of the doing and get more into the state of being, you're going to find that you do less. But when you do less, you accomplish more. And I know it seems like a paradox. It really does. But I guarantee you, if you just open up yourself to that reality and go with it, rule 6, no expectations other than what you're being, I guarantee you have a different experience. So that's number one. Stop piling all this stuff that you think that you have to do. You really don't have to do this. So an example came to mind. Okay, it's coming to mind to share with you. Many of you don't know, I have relocated. Okay, so I ended up, I was going to be moving, selling the house, everything, and in the moving, I was going to be packing up everything in my house, and then what I was going to do was, I think I shared with you, I was giving away every single thing, literally giving away every single thing. Now, I gave myself a week to do this, okay? And so with that being said, what I did was I scheduled for the Veterans Administration to pick up some items on, that was on a Monday. It was on a Monday. And then I scheduled Salvation Army to pick up items on Wednesday. And the reason why I did this is because veterans will only pick up like small items, but Salvation Army will pick up like larger items, okay? And remember, I'm sharing with you me thinking I have to do this, and the other. So Sunday, I'm like, Sunday, I needed to, I was packing. I had to pack. Now, mind you, I'm doing this on myself. I had to pack, and then once I got done packing everything, I've been packing for a while, but I had to do all the packing, and then I had to put the boxes outside on my driveway for Amvet to pick it up. Well, that Sunday, I was getting a little stressed because I'm like, oh my God, I got so much to do. I still got to finish packing, and then I got to move the boxes out, and then I was literally stressing myself out. Now, at the time, prior to this, I was talking to Mimi. I don't think Mimi is on tonight, but she'll listen to the recording. I was talking to Mimi, and she had shared with me, Pia, why don't you get someone to help you? I'm a very private person, so I typically don't do that kind of stuff. But at that point, I was like, okay, well, let me do that. So I actually reached out to a friend on Sunday morning, and I was like, would you help me move some boxes or help me move something I said. And then his reply was, I'm sorry, I'm not available today. And so I said, okay. Well, thank you anyway. And then right then and there, I was like, okay, so I'm not going to try to help, ask anyone else for help. So I literally was like saying, okay, I got to do this, that, and the other. And I was stressing myself out of everything I needed to do, because remember, they're coming Monday morning and they want the stuff out there like early in the morning. So that means I had to put it out Sunday, and I'm getting stressed out with all of the stuff that needs to occur when you're doing a big move. And then all of a sudden, I realized that I had a shed outside in the backyard. And this was a big structure that was literally in boxes, like literally like panel by panel, that someone put this shed together. And I needed to get rid of that too, but it was also bolted to the cement, like it was really nicely constructed. And then something was like, just put it on Facebook. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put it on Facebook. So I put it on Facebook for free. And when I put it on for Facebook for free, literally people were like contacting me, like, blah, 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 I want the shed, because I was putting it up there for free. And so I had to stop packing and doing what I was doing to start now dealing with Facebook. And then it was like, but wait a minute. Why is that just on? Why don't you put this on Facebook and this on Facebook? So I started taking pictures of my big items and put them on Facebook. And then I literally stopped packing. I literally stopped packing, and I was just manning Facebook, because what was happening was, obviously this, I was saying, share with you, I was getting away for free. So I'm getting a lot of activities. So I'm people are coming. I'm like, I'm holding it for you for so many a time. And I'm letting other people know that, someone's on their way, but if they don't come, then blah, 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 I'll let you know. So I'm literally handling this. And as the people were coming to my house, right, I would tell them, saying, I'm getting rid of all this stuff, guys. Take whatever you want. I said, my only stipulation is, if you find something, because I had a whole bunch of boxes at this point in my living room. I said, if you find something in the box that you want, you have to take the whole box. I kid you not, I got rid of, I would say, like 80%, more than 80%, maybe 90% of everything in my house. All because I wasn't focused on what I had to do. Like, literally, if I had to do everything, I would have stressed myself out. But I was like, you know what? And this was, again, it wasn't me saying, okay, I'm going to be instead of doing. I'm just sharing with you that right now, a lot of stuff that you think you need to do, really, you don't have to. If you open up your mind to just a being, a state of being. And literally, they got rid of like 90%. Where that I only had to pluck a few boxes out for the Amvet. And I honestly could have asked them to do it, but, hey, I didn't. And then when Salvation Army came, they ended up getting the majority of stuff that was actually outside. But in other words, instead of stressing myself out thinking I have to do this, that, and the other, I just let it go and let the universe handle it by putting it out there, And for me, it's where I was. It was like a stress call. And I don't get myself stressed out. Like, I literally try to, not try. I literally don't put myself in stressful situations. So when I was getting to that point, that's what made me, like, I stopped and I just sat down and I was just breathing. And that's when the idea came, put it on Facebook. But if I hadn't have stopped to sit down to take that breath and would have just kept doing and doing and doing, no telling where I would be right now. I might have been stressed out in the hospital. No telling what I'd be. So in other words, that's number one, is stop putting things on your to-do list, okay? It's more of a state of being. Now, as far as getting in, as far as like daily routines and morning routines, this is another thing. Keep in mind that I share with you that every single morning should be like a new slate. When you wake up, it's a new slate. It's a new beginning. So whatever didn't happen yesterday, who cares? This is a new day, okay? And on this new day, stop piling in on insignificant, or what you think is significant, but it really is insignificant things. Stop piling it on. And when you do that, it opens yourself up to a state of being. Now, I understand that takes time. So how do you get yourself to that point, or to that point is what I'm gathering that you're asking. It's by being kind and compassionate to yourself, by not trying to stick to a daily routine, by trying to force yourself to a daily routine. And another example came to mind. I'm a runner. I've been running since like 3 years old. Like, literally, I've been ran all through high school, college. I still, I ran for the first time last Friday, which I hadn't ran all this year, but I'm a runner by trade. And I think I shared with you guys, yes, in the last video, that when I first started out running, I would run for time. So I say, I'm going to go out and run 3 miles, not for time, for distance. I say, I'm going to run 3 miles, or I'm going to run 4 miles, I'm going to run 5 miles, 12 miles, whatever miles were. And I didn't realize that by doing that, what would happen was this. I would set a distance, let's say 5 miles. If I made the 5 miles, but to what extent? Like, in other words, I really was pushing myself to go the 5 miles. And if I didn't make the 5, chances are that I would have made it, because that's just who I am. But I would have forced myself to try to make that 5 miles, even though 5 miles may not have been in me at that time. And it wasn't because of, and it doesn't matter if it's because of a race or whatever. It doesn't matter if I'm training or not. I would have forced my body to go those 5 miles because I set or it wasn't even attention time. I just say I was going to go out and do the 5 miles. And then over time, I met different coaches, and I also started reading magazines that said, stop running for distance, and run for time. And then that made sense to me, because let's say, instead of saying 5 miles, I say I'm going to go out and run for an hour. Now, you may say it's the same thing, but it's slightly different, because let me share with you how. If I say I'm going to go out and run 30 minutes, once the 30 minutes is over with, that's it. I'm done. I may have run 3 miles, 5 miles, 6 miles, whatever, but I'm happy that I did the 30 minutes. Okay. So does that kind of help you with that to-do list and the daily routine? It's like when you say you have to do this, that, and the other, It's when you're not able to accomplish that, then you start feeling bad about yourself, and now we're affecting the state of being. But what I'm sharing with you is, by saying not putting that on there, it's a slight change. Don't put so much on. Instead of saying, like, maybe put 1 or 2 things on, or 3 things. Like, literally, like, start small. One thing that you're going to have to do today. One main thing. And then do that one thing. And if you have other things that you accomplish as well, great. But just do one thing. Stop putting 10 and 5 and 7 and all these lists of things that you have to get done. Just do one thing that you want to accomplish today. And then once you accomplish that, if you accomplish others, great. But if not, don't worry about it. And as far as the routine, it's the same exact thing, same exact concept. I haven't been following the one that I have. Do I have it here? I think I have it written down. Pretty sure I do, because I write stuff down. I do have a morning routine that I was following. And it's not in here. Hold on, where's my book? I know I have it written down somewhere. I do have a morning routine that I follow. Okay. However, it's not okay. I'm not going to define. I should have had it already done, because I didn't think I was going to talk about this, but that's okay. But I do have a morning routine that I follow. That was written down, that literally said, from this time to this time, do this time to this time, do that, this time do this, do that. I had a routine I was following, and I probably followed that it was definitely over a year, because it was at the time that I was doing that Transform Yourself in 15 Minutes. For those of you that don't know, I used to do a broadcast, and it started off 7 days a week, but then I moved it to 5 days a week, where Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. Pacific time, I was doing a live broadcast called Transform Yourself in 15 Minutes, where I did 5 minutes of mind, body, and soul exercises. So for the mind, I would talk some type of mental stimulation. And then for the body, I would do a yoga. And then for the spirit, I would do a meditation. So every single day for like over a year, I was doing this. And it was in my morning routine, and it helped me to keep my morning routine, because I got up at 4:30, and then I had things that I was doing, like with my meditations and my readings and everything. And then from 5:30 is when I actually would stop whatever I was doing, and I would prepare for my live that started at 6. So I had a morning routine, and I even put in something that would help me keep that morning routine. It was something that I love doing. Okay. So again, if it's a routine that you want, incorporate something that you really look forward to doing. Like, these are tools that I'm sharing with you that you can also use. So for me, it was the accountability, live accountability. I was going to be on, because I know who I am, and one of those things I'm very consistent. By the way, you'll notice that this week and last week I'm broadcasting on Tuesday instead of on Monday. That's because I've been traveling. Okay, but for the most part, I'm generally consistent. But now it doesn't even matter. This was my rule 6. If I don't do it Monday, I'm not gonna try to stress to do it Monday. I'll do it Tuesday. So in other words, I'm not putting myself in these boxes of these constraints of trying to control. That's what I'm sharing with you. I'm getting different levels. It's a concept word, and now I'm at a point where even trying to stick to a routine is a form of control. Okay, so from where you are, several things that you can do, like, accountability is going to be key. So depending on what your morning routine that you want it to look like, if it's going to include like exercising, maybe schedule that you're going to meet a friend at the gym or whatever, and then that will put you in there. But if you're just talking about like generally like a routine, it's something that you have to be passionate about. And then of course having the accountability will help you. Now my morning routine literally is what I make sure that I do every single morning is when I wake up, I'm doing my meditation, and I'm getting in touch with my higher self. I do, let me backtrack. I do a dream recall, because I have dreams, and then I'll allow time for the clarification of the dream to come through. And then there's certain things that I do as well, which I think is going to answer your next one of your questions as well. You mentioned something about being tired. That's what it was. He says, what are some ways to generally feel better about yourself emotionally, especially when feeling tired and useless because of said tiredness? Okay, good point. Hold on, let me just let her know. I will call her back right later. In in my morning routine now is literally just about me getting in touch with my higher self. Like that's what I do. I also, every single morning, I wake up and I ask for, I set my intentions. And one of the intentions that I do is I say that I want to have a day of heaven on earth for myself and those that I come into contact with. Okay. Now, to answer your question about the tiredness, and it definitely has emotional roots to it. Okay. In addition to the meditation, because again, I don't want to say meditation accomplishes all. It is a tool that will help you tap into the all. And that's why, like, literally I can tell you, like, how do you track my money? I meditate on it. How do you do this? I literally could say that. And I'm pretty sure that you've heard of Deepak Chopra. I recall him saying that. And I remember when I heard him say that like years ago, it seems like it was annoying, but there's truth to it. I live it. But what I understand is, I know you want more than that. I know you understand the meditation helps, but I understand that you also want the tools that's going to help you get to the point where once you're into the meditation, like once you buy into the meditation where it starts really being effective to you, then you'll see what I'm sharing with you. But right now, it may just be like a concept, if you will, one that you may not tie 100% into. So that's why I'm sharing with you. Now, one of the things I do before I go to bed every single night is this, and that also what I want to talk about as well, is I do a form of the Ho'oponopono, okay? And if I don't do that specific meditation, like for instance, I typically do that specific meditation that I share with you guys for specific circumstances, okay? In other words, I will actually listen to that meditation when things happen. Like for instance, this weekend, I was around thousands of people. Let me share something with you guys you may not be aware of. And you may be aware of, but you may not have heard it like this. You know, we're talking about thoughts and frequencies. Well, liken it to like cords and attachments to your physical body. So those thoughts are actually their vibrations, but think in terms of like the radio waves. Like a radio wave, we don't see it, but it's there. And if we were to draw it, we would draw it like a squiggly line. So the thoughts and the frequencies are all here. We don't see it. It's sort of like electricity. We don't see it, but we know it's there because I'm broadcasting to you electronically, right? Same exact thing with everything. I want you to think in terms of those thoughts are actually being cords of attachment to you, to your body. Okay, think of it as physical cords that you can't see. It's like the wavelength, but they're literally attachments all to us. Okay, it's the negative, positive, all the things, and that's how we're all connected, right? So we're all connected to everyone and to everything. Okay, and just understand that basically. Okay, understand that attachment basically. So every single night, what I do is I ask to be disconnected from any cords or attachments, hooks, thoughts that's no longer serving me. Every single night I do that. Now, if I'm around like thousands of people like I was, there may be certain instances or certain people, and it doesn't have to be like a negative experience. It's just that I know I'm attached to everything that I come into contact with. I may do a Ho'oponopono on specific people or circumstances. Like for instance, well, I don't want to give out any names because I don't want to put any negativity. But for instance, at the conference, I was listening to one of the speakers, and what he was saying, to me, it was like a negativity. And even though, I was in the room, so that's a cord that was attached to me. It wasn't my negativity, it was his, but I'm in the room, so I'm being attached to it. Whether or not I know how, I just know at some point that's negativity attached to me that I no longer need. So I would do a Ho'oponopono on that person and other people in general. But every single night I do ask, and I use Archangel Michael to remove any cords or attachments or hooks or negativity. I go into like a whole spiel that I say every single night. I do that every single night. Another thing that's going to help you, Haley, is this. Every single night I say out loud, no matter what the night holds, no matter what I go through, no matter what the night holds, I will wake up well rested. And so in other words, no matter how many hours of sleep, no matter what's going on, no matter what's going on with my dreams, I'm going to wake up well rested. I say that every single night. And so last night I will share with you, I may have gotten in a couple hours of sleep because I was doing things and I wasn't tired. I may have gotten a couple hours of sleep. It's now whatever time it is. I haven't had a nap. Don't get me wrong. Like if I need to, like I typically have my days where if I need a nap, I can get a nap. But I didn't have a nap today and won't have one and won't probably go to bed until late tonight as well. But I say that every single night. Now, I share this with you because what you'll realize is as you start to meditate more, remember, it's a 3D. It's a 3D concept that you have to have a certain amount of sleep. Ask yourself, how much sleep do you need? Just because they say you have to have 8 hours sleep, who says so? Okay, if that's the common consciousness that you want to buy into, then buy into it. And then what happens is when you don't get those 8 hours of sleep or those 10 hours of sleep, then it's scientifically proven. There's also science that disproves it, but they don't tell you that. So what I'm trying to share with you guys is this. Honestly, bottom line with everything is stop buying into this general consciousness of what you're told is supposed to happen and how you're supposed to live your life, and tap into yourself and ask yourself what's good for you. For you, you may only need 4 hours of sleep. You may need 10 hours of sleep. You may need 7 hours of sleep. But don't let someone tell you that you need something and then you just break away and believe it. Because that's what happens with a lot of our belief systems. And I'm guilty of it as well because, again, I'm a personal trainer, nutritionist, all this stuff. And so I would go around telling people, oh, you have to drink this amount of water, or you have to have this amount of sleep. Oh, you have to have this, that, and the other. One of the ones that I'm really was guilty of is by sharing with you that you have to eat breakfast because it jumpstarts your metabolism. Then I started doing research because I got a download. I started doing research. Do you know where that saying came from, that breakfast is the most important meal of the day? That actually stemmed from, you can do the research on yourself. Again, the stuff that I'm sharing with you is I've researched. I just don't bring in the research because for me, I don't need it. I allow the stuff, but then I'm directed to the research. Research yourself. This was a concept from back in like the 1920s or 1940s. I can't remember what year because it's not important to me. I did the research a long time ago, but it was the breakfast industry. Literally, it was the breakfast industry. In other words, the people that were doing the bacon and eggs and sausages and all that, they were trying to drive their sales. And so they came up with the slogan that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And now that's what we all say. And now we try to put the side plan, because it jumpstarts your metabolism. Okay. And I'm not trying to debunk, trying to, ruin your reality. What I'm trying to share with you is open up the blinders. Be open-minded to that. Some of the things that you believe, if it's helpful to you, then by all means keep it. I'm not saying that. If you want to believe that breakfast is the most important meal that jumpstarts your metabolism and that's helping you, then that's great. But if you're not a breakfast person but people are trying to tell you to eat breakfast, that's what I'm sharing with you. Give yourself permission to say, I don't want to tap into that belief. That's not for me. For me, I don't need breakfast. And then be okay with that. What happens with these lists and everything is because we're tapping into what people tell us that we have to do or believe. And that's where we start running into problems. And then, of course, we come up with our own, with the control, with the manipulation, we come up with our own things based upon those beliefs or what we think that we should or shouldn't do. I'm sharing with you, go inside and do the inner work. And when you do the inner work, you'll find out exclusively the key that unlocks you. And that may or may not tie into what other people are saying. But guess what? You're going to find that that's okay. Okay? So hopefully this is actually helping you, Haley Hannah. I know you want okay, do this and do that. There's a reason why I don't do that anymore, because I'll share with you tools that can help. But I don't want to share with you tools that if they don't help you, you'll be like, oh, no, I give up. It's just not going to work for me. I'm sharing with you the best way to tap in is to ask yourself. But in the meantime of getting to know yourself, because this inner work is not easy. I'll be honest with you. It's not easy. Okay. In other words, it requires you to, carve out the time and be in a specific state of mind to get into, to tap into it. But I guarantee you, once you tap into it and it explodes, and then it'll take off. And that's why I share with you, this is a 33-day challenge. But if you fall behind, like I asked you today, where are you at? It's not so I can kick you out. It's just so I can support you from where you are. I realize that, this is like a boot camp, if you will. And if but within the boot camp it's a boot camp setting, but it's not a boot camp atmosphere, meaning I'm not going to kick you out at the end of 33 days because, okay, you had your 33 days, that's it. That's not what I'm sharing with you. But it is a boot camp in that go through the exercises on the day-to-day basis. And what I'm trying to share with you, if you just do a little bit every single day, a little bit every single day. So Haley Hannah, it all stems from self-love. Love yourself enough to carve out time for you. And whatever it is in that daily routine, as long as it's something for you, you will make time for it. It's when it's not for you. It's when you're feeling drawn to do something for other people. That's when we tend to struggle with it, if that makes sense. But when it's something that you're doing for you, like I love waking up and being able to tap in and to go back and review my dreams or allow the dream and the clarification of it, and then tapping into seeing what I need to learn for today and all that. I love that time I spend with myself. And so I make sure I do it every single day. Everything else, including the reading, the exercising, all those are second nature now. It used to be a part of my routine, not anymore. Because that's why I was sharing with you guys that I realized it's not required. I still love working out, don't get me wrong. But right now, with where I am, if I was to try to force myself to work out every single day, it would be a forcedness. It would be me trying to control something. And I realized that's not where I am right now. So when I feel like when I get up and it's like, oh, I want to go running, which is what happened with me last Friday, I went up and went running. Now, granted, that was not the easiest run because I haven't been running and I said I was going to run for 30 minutes. And I did. I ran the 30 minutes, but I actually did stop and walk. Which I typically don't do if I do a 30-minute run. Like if I do a 30-minute run, I just run for the full 30 minutes. It's only if I go more than 30 minutes, I do allow myself a 1-minute walk halfway point. But this time I felt like I need to walk, and I walked, and I didn't beat myself up about it at all. I was like, hey, I need to walk, I'm going to walk. I walked for a little bit and then started running again. And I didn't beat myself up about it. Okay, so I'm sharing with you when there's a pull, when there's a resistance to something, that's because it's not in alignment with your higher self. Okay. Something that happened to me today on my drive down to this place here. I shared with you guys that I do audio recording. And so I talk about what happened, like I do it's a journal, but it's audio. And so something happened yesterday that was putting me in a different state of mind. From outside of my typical joyous state of mind, it was putting me into a different state of mind. And I was going to recapture it on my journal because I didn't journal yesterday. I typically only do it when I'm driving. So I didn't go anywhere yesterday. So I was driving today. So I was trying to capture it, right? And then while I was trying to capture it, my mind wouldn't let me go there. And I was like, well, and then when my mind wouldn't let me go there because I was trying to record it because in my journal, it's recording what's going on. A truck that went by that said align. And I was like, thank you, because I got the message. Why am I trying to record something that happened to a past state in alignment with right now? And I was like, thank you. And so I just went on and was keeping the alignment with the state of mind of where I was. I didn't need to go back and try to recapture that. It already happened. It was in the past. Do you see what I'm sharing with you? Like you open up yourself with the universe. Another thing that happened to me on my drive way down here was I didn't share with you guys. I did a fast. It was a 2-day dry fast. And this happened to me last week, Thursday and Friday. Friday was Thursday and Friday. No, it might have been, anyway, 2 days last week. It wasn't Thursday and Friday. It was Wednesday and Thursday. I did a dry fast. And I knew, and the reason why I know it wasn't on Friday because the conference on Friday, and I knew I was fasting too because of this conference that I was attending. It was a 2-day dry fast. This wasn't something that I planned, but when I woke up, I instinctively knew not to eat or drink. So when I say a dry fast, I literally didn't eat or drink anything for 2 days. 2 full days, 48 hours. I did not eat or drink anything, not even water. And matter of fact, it was a Wednesday because I remember even on that Wednesday, because I was going to be in the house, I didn't even brush my teeth. Now, I did brush my teeth on that Thursday, but that was the only water that came into contact with my mouth. Of course, I spit it out. But a dry fast on Tuesday and Thursday. And this was something that I instinctively knew to do. And then I knew it was because of what I was going to be exposed to in the conference for this weekend. Okay. So I'm sharing this with you because on the drive here down here today, and then since then I've been, I've been eating, but light stuff. And I hadn't eaten all day today. And I was on my way down here. I was like, okay, I want to get something to eat. I said, okay, do I want to get a poke bowl? And I said, oh, but I really would like some fries, from Chick-fil-A. I said, I would like some like potato fries, like some fresh fries, if you will. I was like, oh my God, if I get the fries, I'm going to get the burger, which I don't really eat meat, but that's another thing. But I was like, you know what? Doesn't matter. I'm going to get the poke bowl because I want to start training my body. I want to get outside of the concept that people tell us that we have to have a certain amount of food or a certain amount of this, that, and the other. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to get a poke bowl because that's light and easy. I'm not lying to you guys when I said, as soon as I thought that, because this was the thought. In fact, I was voice recording. So I was actually thinking out loud. Like, in other words, I'm voice recording as I'm saying this. So like I'm talking to you now. As soon as I said that, a truck that was in front of me that I don't know how long it had been in front of me because I wasn't paying attention to him. He got over to the side, and when he moved, it drew my attention to his license plate, and it said, my girl. And in my mind, I felt the universe say that, like, add a girl, like, that's my girl, like, yes, do this. And I was like, okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know how long that truck had been in front of me. I wasn't paying attention to it. But when I made the decision that, you know what, I'm going to eat light. I'm going to keep it light. I'm not going to try to feed all my body all these toxin stuff. I'm going to eat, keep it light. Because yesterday all I had was nuts and fruit. Nuts and fruit. And I did drink water, but nuts and fruit. And so today I was like, let me just eat light. And when I did that, the car got to the side and I looked at the license plate and said, my girl, like that's it. That's my girl. You got it. I'm sharing this with you because these things happen to you all the time. But like when the car was in front of me, I didn't see it. Things that you don't see, you will now see. Just open yourself up to it. Literally open yourself up to it. All right, let's see. So hopefully that helps you. And another tool that will help as far as help you feel better about yourself emotionally is, again, get rid of what people say, okay? First, it's going to require you to define your happiness. You define your state of being of what is happy to you. What does that mean? What is successful to you? Like, define those words as it relates to you. Once you have that definition, then don't try to jump from where you are to that point. It may be too much of a leap. So if you're feeling a certain way about yourself, can you recall a time or an experience where you felt better? Not even about yourself. You just felt good. Like, it might just be an experience. Put your mind on that experience. Try to align yourself to where you want to go instead of being where you at. Align to where you want to go. And it's going to start off with you thinking about an experience that you had that was a pleasant experience. It could have been like, oh, like it might have been a phone call, or maybe like, something like, oh, you know what? I did this, and or a time in your life where you felt good about yourself. Put your mindset on those type of experience where you're feeling better about yourself, or an experience like you literally just want to feel better. Okay, doesn't have to jump from here to happiness, but feel better, and then feel better, and just be in alignment with that. By the way, anytime that you are feeling one way and there's that resistance, I'm saying this again, that resistance is because it's not in alignment with how your higher self feels about you. Let me say that again. Anytime there's some type of resistance where you're feeling out one way versus the other, it's because you're not in alignment with how your higher self feels about you. And keep in mind, your higher self is you. It is literally you, a different aspect of you. What happens is that your higher self has unconditional love for you. Unconditional love for you and your circumstances, everything. Unconditional love. That means there's no conditions applied to it. It just loves you. Whenever you're feeling outside of that love, that's when there's the emotional draw, that resistance that you're feeling. It's because it's not in alignment with how you should be feeling about yourself, which means you're not loving yourself. And I get that you may understand that. So you may say, well, how do I get into alignment? and I'm sharing with you is by coming to a point where you remember where you felt something good or you had an experience. It doesn't necessarily have to be about yourself. I mean, that would be ideally, but it can just be where you felt a good experience. Like, oh, I remember the day I was just sitting out in the sun and just felt good. Just, that happened to me this weekend. I just sat on the sun because the rooms inside were freezing. So I would go outside and I would just feel the sun on my skin and just felt so good. Like I can remember that feeling of how good it felt. And I had that followed up. So there's a time where I'm not feeling so good, I'll just remember that sun. Like I just remember sitting out in the sun. So something that's going to bring a smile to your face. In other words, it literally is a choice. One way or the other. It's literally a choice. Choose to feel better. Doesn't have to be the high step. I'm not saying jump to happiness, but just choose to feel better. As far as the tiredness, set the intention that no matter what happens, that you're going to wake up well rested. As far as what's happening emotionally, that's when you're going to have to do the work. Okay? In other words, the tools that I'm helping you will help you get around it, but you're still in it. Until you address what's emotionally going on, that's when it dissipates. And once it dissipates, you won't have that anymore. So keep in mind, I can share with you tools, but the tools will only work to an extent. The tools is going to help you get to a point where you feel good and you're not tired and you feel like you can do stuff, and then do the inner work. Like, don't just feel good and just go off on the reality and not do the work, because you will circle back around to feeling bad again at some point or another. What I've shared with you, and I've lived, that by doing the work and getting in touch with your higher self, there will be incidents where you get bounced out for whatever reason, out of that 5D consciousness, out of that state of being where you're just in joyful bliss mode, and something will come up. But if you already have that tapped in, that alignment, and you're aware of it, you can easily get back into it. That's what happened to me today. I was trying to get myself out of it by remembering a certain state of being. And it was like, no, we're not going to let you go. Stay in alignment. And I'm not lying. That truck was on the back of the truck. It was the name of the company, but big. It said Align. And I knew what it meant. I was trying to get myself out of my mode. No, why would I do that to myself? And we do that to ourselves. Unfortunately, we do that to ourselves. But understand, it is a choice. And so make the choice to feel better. However means that you need to do, make yourself feel better. So that brings me to another point. How am I doing on time? Give me a second here. Okay, I'm doing good. By the way, if you do have any other questions, let me scroll down and see. Okay, perfect. This brings me to anxiety, because someone asked me a question about anxiety offline, and I definitely will answer you offline as well. But I was in the convention. I explained I was in the convention, so I wasn't on my phone hardly at all, except for to take pictures with people. How to, with anxiety specifically. Okay, now I'm going to address the anxiety, because I know a lot of you are feeling this, but it really is any type of emotion that you're feeling. So the question was, I can't remember specifically how it was worded, but what he asked was, did I have any tools or techniques on how to deal with anxiety? Now, you already know I'm going to say meditation. You already know I'm going to say that. Okay, that's number one. You say, well, how does that work? Well, keep in mind what I just shared with you. I was stressing myself out with the move, and I just sat down, and I took it. I breathed. When I breathe, I actually just kind of closed my eyes, and I'm just like, and then a thought came about selling it on Facebook. That was a type of meditation, because I want you to understand there's several types of meditation. The meditation that I do is not always to sit down with the mudras and with the cross legs and the mudras. That's not the only type of meditation I do. I can, like right now, before I went on this broadcast, I closed my eyes and I did a short meditation. So when I say meditation, understand that there's different types of meditation that you can do. So when if you're being anxious, just kind of close your eyes and just calm down and breathe. And that would be the other one I'm talking about, would be like the deep breathing. Deep breathing will help you in an anxious situation. Okay. Another technique that I share with people that actually helps is, matter of fact, I told Patty I was going to share hers because I loved hers. She keeps a journal and she writes out. Let me see if I can find it specifically what she said. But she has a journal and she writes out a gratitude. Like literally, she writes down what she's grateful to. And I said, oh, this is great. I want to read it because I told her I want to share it with her. share it with you guys. Hold on. All right. Hold on. If I can find it real quick. Okay, I may have to write it out to you because I can't, I don't see it. But I recall what she was saying was that she had a journal and she was just writing out what she was grateful for. Now, let's say you get to a point where you're just so anxious that you don't want to write it out, because journaling would be another tool that can help you with. If you already have a gratitude journal, even by just reading it or just thinking it, like seriously just thinking it, what are you grateful for? Like, what are you grateful for right now? It may just be, I'm grateful to be breathing. I'm grateful to be alive. Like, just start off there. I'm grateful for my family. Just start listing things that you're grateful for. If you have a journal, writing it out will help. If you have a journal where you've already written out some gratitudes, just reading over, remembering what you were grateful to. This will also help you, Haley Hannah, when you ask about, the emotional, how you feel better about yourself, is if you have a gratitude journal. Another tool that I share with people, that I have it, I don't have it with me right here, but it's in my car. I keep a rock. It's a special rock that I have with me, and I keep it with me. Like I said, I keep it mainly in my car. But every time I get that rock, and for you, this was a tool I used to do. Now I keep it in my car. I used to keep it with me, on me, in my pocket. And then every time you touch that rock or you look at that rock, because when I used to carry it with me, I would like come to my client, I put it on the desk. Every time you look at that rock, then say something that you're grateful for. Every time you touch that rock, say something that you're grateful for. Gratitude is a great tool that will help with a lot of the emotions that you're going through, just by being grateful for you. It will put you into another level of being. Gratitude is a high frequency. And if you don't recall, I posted in the group this ultimate consciousness frequency chart. And even if you don't believe it, it doesn't matter if you believe it or not. By just applying the tools to it. Like, in other words, gratitude is a higher frequency vibration. So no matter if you're feeling bad, if you start thinking, listing things, or thinking about things you're grateful for, it will automatically put you into a different state of being. Okay, so you don't have to believe in the levels of consciousness or anything like that. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. But by applying the concepts of, like, if you're in a different emotional state, being grateful is one of the great ways to get you out of a lower emotional state. If you want to get into a higher one, gratitude is a great tool. Now, another tool that I can share with you that I use is aromatherapy, namely essential oils. So there's essential oils for different states of being. When it comes from for anxiety, one of the ones that you can actually use would be like the bergamot, like the orange. You can use that. I like jasmine. Like, jasmine is one of the ones that I use often. Incense, I burn incense. Like, the aromatherapy will definitely help your state of being as well. And for the oils, like the essential oils, I didn't bring my purse with me, because if I had my purse with you, I would actually be able to show you other things. I just have a bag today, and I brought my wallet. I didn't bring my purse. With the I say that because I keep this stuff in there. With the oils, what I do is I put a couple of drops on my hands. I rub it together. Now, for me, I put it right here on the back of my neck. I do like this. I also smell it. And then I also put it on my arms, like my wrist. I'll put it on my wrist. And I don't have like a special, like I don't do one word. I'll just, sometimes I'll put it here, smell it, and then do here. Like, I don't have a specific, routine of doing it. But I'm just sharing with you that I put it on the back of my neck and I just let it soak in. I definitely smell it in, and I also put it on my wrist. But aromatherapy will help you. Incense burning will help you as well. Crystals, I'm into crystals. So crystals is another one, okay? If you know this, I wear crystals, okay? Well, these are actually malas, okay? So on this arm, these are actually malas, but these are actual crystals right here. So one of the crystals that will actually help you, and I use this a lot, and I keep this on like just about daily, is this one right here. This is rose quartz. Now, I shared with you before that I typically don't tell you what crystals do. I typically will like give them to you and then share with you, like ask you to tell me what they do for you. But because I'm not in a place to give them to you, I do want to share with you some of the known healing effects of crystals. By the way, they come from the earth. This is not anything, they come from the earth. But this rose quartz right here is about self-love. Okay, self-love is a great one to have. So crystals, like I said, I typically keep, for me, I keep selenite with me. I don't remember I shared with you I don't have my purse, which I keep a wand of selenite in there. But I guarantee you, in my car, I have selenite in my car, and I have some other ones as well. So it's definitely there's always something around me. But that the crystals will definitely help you as well. And another one is sodalite. It's going to actually help you with anxiety. So I'm specifically addressing anxiety, but crystals help you in general. Okay, so these are some of the tools that I use in my practice, and what I typically do is this. When I say use in my practice, what I would do is I would like talk with you one on one and get a feel of what's going on with you, and then based upon that, then I will be led to what specific crystal will help you specifically. But I'm just right now speaking in general. And by the way, all you have to do is Google crystal for anxiety, crystal for bad mood, or whatever, and it'll share with you the crystals that will help you. And then get the crystal and then see how it helps you. Now, again, I've done this for a while in person. When I think I shared with you in other broadcasts, where I have students in my accounting classes where they were very anxious like this. I remember just the last one that I gave out in the class. There was this lady, I could tell she was just putting so much pressure on herself. Like she was just like, oh, I got to make the dean's list. I got to do this. Like she was just putting so much pressure on herself, and not just in school, but in her home life. And so for her, it was a selenite crystal that was led to give her. And again, I just gave it to her, and I just shared with her. I said, just take this and just let me know how it affects you. And she used it for tests and everything. And obviously, I knew what I was going to do. So I'm sharing with you, like generally speaking, different crystals that will help. Like in other words, self-love, because this is one that we all can use is self-love. So rose quartz, and I always have this with me. If I have this bracelet. By the way, my bracelets are dwindling because what happens is I'll be at a conference, or I'll meet people, and I'll just give them mine. I'll just give it away. Like in other words, when that happens, I know that it's no longer served me. It's ready to serve someone else, and then I'll attract other ones as well. Okay, so that's why they're like dwindling. Like this seems full. This is a mala. Okay, these are malas. In case you don't know what a mala is, this is something people use in meditation. I don't meditate with the mala, but this is literally 108 beads on both of these. And I wear it as a bracelet. Okay. And the reason why they use it is they do different chants, and they say it 108 times. So each of these beads, like every time they say it, while they're meditating, let me just kind of show you. For those of you not aware, like they'll be in a meditation, and then they'll say this time. Like they'll just be in meditation, they'll do this because it's 108. Okay. By the way, remember I talked about numerology. There's a reason for the 108, but this is not a numerology class, so just wanted to share that with you with the crystals. So crystals. So again, there's all types of tools that can help you in your state of being. Is what works for you. So I listed several of them. Find one or two that works for you, and then if it works for you, use it. If it doesn't work for you, just discard it. But don't discard it saying it doesn't work. Just discard it, say it's not working for me now. But keep an open mind that it could work for you later. Because it really, honestly, guys, everything has to do with beliefs. If you believe something will work, it will work for you. And that's why I don't tell people when I give them a crystal, I don't tell them what it's for. Because I'm putting my belief system, obviously, like for instance, I mentioned about rose quartz. Anybody that knows about crystals knows what they stand for. And so that's typically what they generally direct people to. But I just share it with you, like there's specific crystals for, let's say, anxiety. But when I'm talking with different people, I may be led to give them a different crystal because what they perceive as anxious has really something to do with another emotion, and I'm tapping into that. So I give them, let's say, self-love. Like, well, self-love is, this rose quartz is supposed to be for self-love. Why'd you give it to me for anxiety? Well, it's because I tapped in and I understood that this is really what you need. The effects that you're having is anxious, but it stems from the lack of self-love. Okay, so in other words, there are different crystals that can help you from different aspects of it. Okay, but again, just keep an open mind, and whatever you believe will be true. Call it the placebo effect, if that's going to make you feel better. Like if you need the science behind it, think of it as a placebo effect. If it works, it works. Like, what does it matter? Like if it works, it works. But it really has to do with your belief system. Whatever you believe is true. So stop believing that you're tired. Stop saying that you're tired. Like, but I'm feeling tired. Well, what can you do to feel better? Okay, focus on that where you're feeling better. And I think you mentioned this as well, Karen. There was a time where you just needed to rest for days. Give yourself permission to do that. And I understand. I mean, like for instance, especially if you have small children, that may be challenging, particularly if you're homeschooling or whatever. Like you have these certain routines that you set up, and these are just control areas that you set up for yourself. But if your body needs to rest, give yourself permission to rest and don't call it laziness. If you need to, hire a babysitter that day or whatever you need to do, but get your rest. Don't beat yourself up for needing rest. Your body knows exactly what it needs. We've just been trained otherwise. Okay. I attended, remember I shared with you, I attended the Conscious Life Expo back in January. There was a guy that did a talk, and it's called Breatharian. It's where he goes, like he doesn't eat at all. Like he says he'll eat socially, but he doesn't eat. He just works off the breath and off the air. Well, honestly, we all could do that because it has to do with the sun and with energy. Like in other words, if your vibration is high enough, you can actually live off just the energy of like the sun and off your breath, particularly if you know how to breathe, the prana. You can live off of that. You literally can. I did it for 2 days with no side effects. I wasn't hungry. I wasn't irritable. I wasn't angry. None of that. None of that. And I just did it for 2 days. And I know that was just a catalyst because it's going to definitely end up being longer. But right now, I haven't been led to do any more than that. But I'm sharing that with you because we've been programmed to believe that we need a certain amount of things for everything. I'm saying tap into yourself. Start trusting yourself. Everything starts here. And I get it. It's not attractive and it seems time consuming because my journey has stemmed over years. Okay? Years. It doesn't have to be years. When I say years, it's because I'm living years. So as I'm living, I'm growing, I'm learning different things. I'm not saying it took me, like for instance, when I did the 21-day fast last year, 21 days only, water only, there was no precursor to that. I didn't prepare myself for it. It's literally, I got the meditation, I got the download to fast. And I said, okay, I accept the challenge. I have fun with it, guys. I do. I accept this mission. I accept the challenge. And I just did it. Because I knew that if I'm being led to do it, it's going to be for me, and there's a reason for it. So it was going to be to my benefit. So I'm sharing with you that the outside distractions. Remember that shaking up of the water. The more you're encompassed within that outside distraction, it's going to be harder for you to focus internal. But I want to keep reiterating that everything that you need to know is within yourself. It is there. There are times when it comes out and you recognize it and you follow it, and then everything works and works. It can be like that all the time. It can be. All right, so I think that's it. Oh, there was one more other thing I wanted to talk about. Sorry. And it had to do with forgiveness, because again, forgiveness is one of those concept words, control, forgiveness, like all these words are stuff that kind of permeates throughout, your life. There's different levels of forgiveness. So I mentioned in the response to Patty about sankharas, and I want to explain that to you as well. Because when I shared with you that I do forgiveness, I don't do Ho'onopono every single night. When I say I don't do it, I don't do that specific meditation that I download to you, but I do a form of it every single night. Meaning I say, this is the people I come into contact with. I ask people I come into contact with, including on social media or any thoughts or anything like that. Please, let them forgive me. I forgive you. So I do a version of it. Okay. And I say that because when it comes to forgiveness, it's like different things. There's different levels. Okay. There are some forgiveness that you can just forgive immediately. Like someone to say something to you and you just, it kind of like wash away. That type of forgiveness, I like to liken it to, like you draw a line on the edge of the, you're at a beach, you draw a line at the edge of the water, right? And then the water comes and washes it away. Okay, that's one type of forgiveness. Okay, that's a samkhara. That's one type of forgiveness, or one type of incident or event. Call it whatever you want. I'm just calling it sankharas, which is a Hindu word, Indian word, Hindu. but then the water comes and washes away and it's forgotten. It looks like new. Okay, that's one type. Another type of, and that would be something, let me give you an example of it. That would be something where, I don't know, where you say something that was hurtful to someone and you didn't really mean it, so you apologize, like almost to me, like, oh, I'm sorry, I did not mean to say that. Like, oh, that just slipped out, I'm sorry. Like you may have said something, but then if forgiveness is just washed away, like, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. When someone says, oh, don't worry about it, like that. Okay, that would be one type. Now, another type of sankara is when you go a little further down in the sand or up toward the beach and you draw another line in the sand. Okay, that's a little deeper. Now, that stays, right? But once a day, the tide comes in and washes that away. So that might be something like an argument that you have with your spouse. Now, depending on the severity of the argument and how you label the term severity, it may be the one that's closer to the water, or it may be the one that's out closer to the beach. But at least once a day, the tide comes in and it washes away. It's a new slate. Okay, those are the two that are easy to forgive. Okay, those are the instances that are easy to forgive. One is easier than the other, like depending on what that argument was with your spouse. You may say it may take a couple of days. Remember, we're talking theoretical, but the tide comes in and washes it away and then it's gone. All right. Now, the third type of sankara, this is the one that is etched into stone. Like if you see a stone, there's actually a groove into the stone. Those are not easy to wash away. The water can come, and sometimes the water comes and it just makes the groove even deeper. Those are the ones that you're having trouble with when it comes to forgiveness. Those are the ones that are deeply rooted into you. Okay? Deeply rooted into you, where most people, most tools that you use are for the level one, and I don't like to use the word level, but understand I'm just saying sankara 1 and sankara 2 at the edge and at the beach level. The tools that you're using are for those. Okay, those are the tools that people are telling you to use, but you have one that's deeply embedded. Okay, so you're saying, what's the tool? That's the one I want. Yeah, P, that's the one I want. How do I get to that point? This is the one that requires you to do inner work. There's no ifs, ands about it. This is the one that requires you to do the inner work because it's so deeply ingrained in you. And you know it's deeply ingrained in you because you keep getting triggered or you keep bringing it up. Even like in conversation, like, oh yeah, and that's why I'm careful with what obviously when I'm sharing it with you, I'm doing it for a purpose. But you don't see me bringing up hurtful things or things that I did in the past because they're literally, I've closed up the groove. I've taken that knife and I've sawed it down, or the whatever you call it, file, and I've sawed that groove down so that now it's a smooth rock and the water can just flash right over it. And that's what you have to do, but it requires inner work. Okay, and I'm just going to be honest with you. The tools will help you with the 1 and 2, and some of the tools will help you the water to come over it. But then when the water washes away, it's still going to be there. The inner work is the only way to file that down. Okay, file that down. And depending on how deeply grooved it is and how willingness that you're open it, the filing doesn't have to take a long time. I'm just saying it requires inner work. Some people may take years because they want to, take the traditional route, but they keep reliving it over and over again and talking about it, like going to talk therapy and all that. Honestly, a lot of times it's just making the groove even deeper before it starts to fill up. There are, and I shared with you before, like for instance, I mentioned about the emotions code. That's a great book to look into if you want to really heal yourself. And then also I mentioned about the EMDR therapy, tap therapy. A lot of those will help you with this if you have the willingness and the openness to want to forgive that type of sankara, the one that's deeply embedded into a rock. The 1 and 2, like the tools that I share with you, those are easier to wash by. And that's why it's important, my friends, to do that, some type of forgiveness every single night. Because you may have said something that you don't know that really was a sankara to someone else. You may not have intended it to be that way, but it could be. And even those that people say, oh, don't worry about it. A lot of times we say, don't worry about it. But what happens is it comes ingrained into our subconscious mind because whatever it was I'm trying to think of something. Let's say that, I can't think of an instance, I'm just going to kind of make up one. Let's say that someone inadvertently called you fat in a dress. They didn't say, like, they didn't come out and say it like that, but they said it where you interpreted it as you were fat in that particular dress. Like, they literally said something else, but your interpretation was, I look fat in this dress. And so you may say, oh, but the look on your face gave the way to them, and so they apologize, and you're like, oh, don't worry about it. Okay? So I'm addressing you, saying, don't worry about it. You said don't worry about it to make them feel better, but what happened to you? When they said whatever they said, even though it wasn't meant to hurt you, it was a trigger to you. And that trigger brought up emotions, which put that expression on your face, which is what they saw, which is why they apologized. Okay? And so when you're doing forgiveness, you're forgiving all of the situations. Like, in other words, you're forgiving yourself for dismissing something because you're putting that person's feelings in front of yours. When you're saying, well, what should I have done? The correct way, and we don't do this because we typically don't communicate with each other the way communication is really supposed to be. The correct way would have been to address it at that particular time. That really hurt me, what you just said. You may not have meant to hurt me, but that really hurt me. That is being true to yourself, because now you're expressing your feelings of how that person made you feel. Even though that may not have been their intent, it doesn't matter. By putting someone else's feelings in front of yours, we're trained to do that. And that's what's building those sankaras, we're calling sankaras within ourselves. That's what's eroding away the trust that we build from ourselves, because we're putting other people's feelings in front of ours. Oh, I'm worried about what other people think. And that's what it's saying. We're saying worry about what other people think. Don't worry about what other people think. It's about what you feel and what you think. Because be honest and true to yourself. Don't just dismiss and say that's okay if it's not okay. Even if you don't know why it's okay, then don't say it's okay. Don't say nothing. If nothing else, remember I talked about the neutrality? Keep it neutral. If they say something that hurts you and you don't feel like you're ready to address at that point, then don't say anything. Silence is golden. It speaks a lot. Don't say anything, but do not dismiss it, because when you dismiss it, you're doing a disservice to yourself. You're dismissing your feelings, and your feelings are important. Stop hurting yourself. Because what happens is you start building that groove deeper and deeper within you. And then when I'm sharing with you tools, you're like, oh, that's not working. Oh, yeah, that doesn't work. Okay? So hopefully this all makes sense. And remember, it's not a linear, these are not linear concepts, even though we're in a 3D reality. Think in terms of a sphere, if you will, or a 360 circle. It's all over the place. It's like an onion. As you peel back layers, you learn different things. It's only when you try to take these concepts linearly or in a linear fashions where we start to get into these state of beings where it's not serving us. Okay, so recall, it's about being equanimous, neutral, not the seesaw effect of judging, because that is judging. Okay. All right, so that's all I have for you today. If you do have any other questions or anything that you want me to address, again, I come on weekly. It's typically going to be on Mondays, but it's not Monday, Tuesday, But at least once a week, I will definitely come on live. If you have any questions for me to answer, I would love to answer them for you. Throughout the week, if you do have questions, then continue to post them in the thread, or if you feel more comfortable, then message me offline as well. A lot of you guys have my cell phone or text, whatever. Either way is okay. I will address it collectively because we're all in this together. Remember, I talked about like one of the I know I'm done, but one of the persons I listened to this week, her name is Caroline Corey. What she talked about really resonated with me because it's what I'm sharing it with you. But she has the scientific proof, and the proof is basically how this world, like how there's 3D concepts, but she takes it into like there's linear concepts that she takes into a 3D fashion. Okay, and it's basically about how we can connect to different levels of consciousness and how it's actually proven, like it's been proven. So maybe I'll incorporate some of her teachings. I actually have been, and just again by listening to her, I was like, this is what I've been talking about. Like, there you go, there's the proof. This is what I've been saying. There's the proof. So it's just refreshing to be able to hear her. For those of you that need that left brain activity, that need the scientific proof, she has it. as it relates to the spiritual stuff that I'm referring to. Okay, the spiritual stuff, not the scientifically proving spiritual stuff is what I'm sharing with you. I don't personally need it because I get the downloads and I've already tapped into the higher source, and so I know my source is solid because I have the trusting, the knowing, I should say, more than the trusting. I have the knowing, but it's just helpful to hear her sharing it with other people, and it's now becoming mainstream. The stuff I'm sharing with you now is becoming mainstream. Is what I'm sharing with you because we're expanding our consciousness as a collective. Because in the end, we're going to find out that we're all connected. We're all connected. All right, so that's it for this week. This is for, I don't even want to say what week it is because you guys are on different weeks, but just keep up with your daily practices. And remember, make time for yourself. That's the most important thing when it comes to keeping a routine. If you want to keep a routine, it's more of doing something that's important to yourself. And if it's important to yourself, you will make that time for it. It's when it's not, it's when you start trying to force things. Stop trying to force things. Another thing I meant to mention about anxiousness, challenge those negative thoughts. In other words, what is it that you're being anxious about? Ask yourself, why is this even mine? Number one, is it mine? Because I shared with you kind of briefly how we're connected with cords and attachments. We can't see them, but they're all around us. The stuff that you're anxious about, it may not even be your stuff. It literally may not be your stuff. So number one, you got to find out if it is your stuff. And if it is your stuff, then start challenging it. Start playing the what if. I know money is a big thing for a lot of people nowadays. And start playing and you know what? I did this instinctively. I literally did this instinctively way back when. I would say, okay, if I wasn't able to do this, then what's the worst that can happen? And it's funny because I in my accounting class, it's called sensitivity analysis. It's what if, and I share with them to do this as well. And basically, I say, okay, so what if I lose my house, lose my car, lose my job, lose this? What's the worst that can happen? You know what I came up with for me? I would go back home and live with my mom. I was like, that's it? Okay, cool. That's not a bad thing. Now, for me, that's not a bad thing. For you, you may say it may be a bad thing. I'm just sharing with you by playing the what if and then taking your mind to that greatest fear. You're going to see, that's it. Oh, I can deal with that. That's not a big deal. Now, if you have a family, particularly if you're the breadwinner of your family, and you say, well, is this that? Still, play the what if game. I guarantee you that what if will not end up with something that's so drastic that you're like, oh God, I'm glad I have this fear. It won't end up like that. It's going to end up with like, really? Like that's it? Okay, so I may have to live with someone else. Okay, I can do that for a little period of time. But in other words, challenge that fear. Look it in the eye and say, what if? Like, what if I have to face you? What would I do? And you're going to find that all of a sudden the answers will come, and that will help you get on the other side of it and lessen the anxiousness that you're feeling toward the situation. Okay, so these again, these are some of the tools that you can do, but literally ask that fear. Like, first of all, make sure it's yours. And if it is yours, then challenge it. Ask what if? What's the worst that can happen? And you're like, okay, that's it. I'm homeless on the street. Well, there's homeless people, but do I have to really be on the street? Because there's shelter. That's what I'm saying. Once you try to take yourself to the way bottom, then all of a sudden opportunities will reveal itself. You're like, oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. Okay, so look that fear in the face. Okay, stop, make the choices. You are the creator of your own reality. You really are. All right, so that is it for this week. Again, have a great week, and I'm here if you need me. Bye.